One revelation, one test, one moment that changed everything. When explosive DNA claims were revealed, emotions ran high and long-hidden tensions burst into the open. Tears followed. Silence followed louder. And questions spread across the world faster than truth could catch up. What was discovered, and why did it shake the royal story so deeply? This is the drama that turned private pain into global headlines. It did not begin with shouting. It began with silence. Then suddenly, the silence broke. A shocking claim surfaced, one that spread faster than any royal rumor in years. At the center of it all stood Prince Harry, caught in a moment few ever expected the world to see. Emotion, tension, and a story that felt almost too explosive to believe. The claim came from Samantha Markle, a figure already known for speaking openly about family tensions. But this time, the revelation felt different, bigger, personal in a way that could not be ignored. She revealed what she described as shocking DNA results connected to Meghan Markle, a claim that instantly ignited global attention. Within minutes, speculation flooded social media. News outlets scrambled. Commentators debated. Everyone wanted answers. Was it true? How had this information surfaced? And most importantly, why now? Inside royal circles, the mood reportedly shifted almost immediately. The story was no longer just family drama. It had become a question of identity, history, and trust. For years, tensions surrounding Meghan's family relationships had remained a painful undercurrent to royal life. But this moment dragged everything into the open. No filters, no distance, just raw public exposure. Observers say the emotional weight was visible. For a figure raised within the traditions of the British royal family, public personal revelations carry consequences far beyond headlines. They ripple through reputation, legacy, and public image. And where did much of the world attention turn next? Toward Buckingham Palace, where silence can sometimes speak louder than any statement. But the biggest question still hung in the air. What exactly did those DNA claims say? And why did they strike such a deep emotional nerve? Because what came next would push private pain into a very public breaking point. The drama didn't start with a DNA test. It had been building quietly, like a storm brewing on the horizon, for years. Behind the polished appearances and royal ceremonies, tensions simmered. The Markle family story, layered with love, loyalty, and long-standing disagreements, was now dragging the monarchy into a very human, very messy conflict. At the center of it all were Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, whose bond had been tested repeatedly by public scrutiny. Every interview, every subtle slight in the press, every family comment seemed to widen the invisible crack. Samantha Markle, outspoken and determined to have her voice heard, had long been critical of her sister. But few anticipated that her claims would reach a point this explosive. Royal insiders describe Harry as someone who carries the weight of family loyalty and public duty with remarkable seriousness. But no amount of protocol or media training could fully prepare him for a direct challenge to his family's private life. This wasn't just a headline. It was a confrontation with history, with identity, and with questions that couldn't be answered in a press release. The Markle siblings had clashed over misunderstandings, resentment, and decades of differing perspectives. Some say it was jealousy. Others claim it was hurt stemming from childhood experiences. Whatever the truth, the friction created a backdrop for the revelation that would soon dominate headlines. Every family story, every old argument, and every unresolved conflict seemed suddenly magnified. Meanwhile, the palace watched quietly. In London, courtiers and aides noted how small family disagreements could spiral into international stories. They understood that the personal and the public were inextricably linked. A single statement, a single claim, could echo around the world in minutes. And in the age of social media, the ripple became a wave almost instantly. For Harry, the revelation wasn't just shocking. It was a reminder of a lifelong struggle, balancing love for his family with loyalty to the institution he was born into. And with Samantha's public disclosure, it was clear that the rift wasn't going away quietly. It was here, raw and undeniable. As tensions mounted, one question loomed over the royal family and the public alike. Could private pain ever be contained in a world that thrives on public spectacle? The moment the DNA claim was revealed, disbelief spread like wildfire. People couldn't stop asking the same question. Could it really be true? Samantha Markle insisted that the results were definitive, a shocking revelation that would forever change how the world viewed her sister, Meghan Markle, and by extension, Prince Harry. According to Samantha, the DNA results not only contradicted widely held beliefs about family history, but also exposed secrets that had been carefully guarded. She presented the information publicly, confident in its authenticity, knowing the impact would be seismic. The timing was impeccable or catastrophic, depending on whom you asked. Social media erupted instantly. Every news outlet ran the story. The world watched as a family feud became a global spectacle. The claim itself was complicated yet sensational. It suggested discrepancies in previously accepted genealogical assumptions, questioning relationships that had been considered settled for decades. Some described it as a shock to the monarchy, because it involved not just family dynamics, but also public perception and the narrative of heritage. Every detail was dissected, debated, and speculated upon. Inside royal circles, the revelation hit like a storm. Advisors reportedly scrambled to assess the situation, trying to determine the authenticity of the results before any official statement could be made. For Harry, the disclosure wasn't just about fact-checking. It was about emotion. The DNA claim challenged the very foundation of his family story. And for someone who values loyalty and privacy, the public exposure was almost unbearable. Meanwhile, the media played every angle. Headlines emphasized shock, betrayal, and the truth behind the Duchess. Analysts debated possible motives. Was it revenge? Was it attention-seeking? Or was it simply the truth, no matter how inconvenient? Across the globe, audiences were glued to screens, waiting for confirmation, denial, or an emotional response. The emotional impact on Harry was immediate and visible. Witnesses described a rare display of vulnerability, a tearful moment captured not in private but by the constant eyes of the public. The claim had pierced the carefully constructed armor of the royal image, exposing raw, human emotion in a way few had ever seen. And just when it seemed the world had absorbed the shock, the story wasn't done. Because beneath the headlines, whispers of new details and potential consequences began to circulate, leaving everyone wondering what else was hidden and who would speak next. It was a moment few could have predicted, yet somehow it felt inevitable. Prince Harry, always composed in public, was suddenly overcome with emotion. Witnesses describe a scene where restraint gave way to raw vulnerability, tears, pauses, and a heaviness in the air that no one could ignore. This wasn't the calm diplomacy of the palace. This was a human being confronting a private pain turned global spectacle. The revelation from Samantha Markle had struck at the heart of Harry's life. It was more than just a shocking claim. It was a confrontation with his identity, his loyalty, and his love for his family. Every public moment since he married Meghan Markle had been under scrutiny, and now, private family matters were dragged into the open in the most dramatic way possible. Friends and aides say Harry felt trapped between two worlds: the love and trust he held for his wife, and the painful fractures within her extended family. The DNA claim was more than just a headline. It was a symbol of tension, betrayal, and questions that could not be ignored. Every eye on him magnified the weight of the moment, and for the first time in public, the strain showed. Royal protocol often demands stoicism. Tears are rarely seen, but in this instance, protocol was powerless. The emotional breaking point revealed a truth most of the world rarely sees. Even royalty can break. It's the human side behind the crowns and ceremonies, a side that struggles with loyalty, identity, and the consequences of family secrets. The fallout was immediate. Statements were drafted, media teams scrambled, and social media exploded with reactions. Some sympathized with Harry, recognizing the intense personal toll. Others debated the legitimacy of Samantha's claims. But no matter the opinion, one thing was clear. The emotional impact could not be ignored. And yet, the public display of grief and vulnerability didn't end the story. If anything, it added layers of tension. Questions now shifted from, what did the DNA claim reveal, to how will Harry and Meghan navigate this storm? And can family bonds survive such public scrutiny? The world didn't take long to respond. Within hours of Samantha Markle's revelation, headlines flashed across every continent. Social media platforms were ablaze with speculation, outrage, and support. Every angle of the story was analyzed, dissected, and debated. What had been a private family conflict had instantly become a global spectacle. Fans of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle rushed to their defense, sharing messages of support and empathy. They highlighted years of scrutiny, the emotional weight of royal life, and the courage it takes to face personal pain under the public eye. On the other side, critics questioned the authenticity of the DNA claims, accusing Samantha of attention-seeking or stirring drama for personal gain. The media frenzy was relentless. News channels debated potential motives, social media influencers weighed in, and commentators dissected every detail of the alleged DNA results. Opinion polls reportedly showed divided public sentiment, some expressing sympathy for the couple, others fascinated or outraged by the revelation itself. It was a storm that refused to die down. Meanwhile, tabloids amplified every moment. Speculation about palace reactions, the impact on royal events, and even potential fallout with a monarchy-dominated coverage. Every public appearance by Harry and Meghan became scrutinized anew, and every statement, or lack thereof, fed into the growing narrative. Analysts described it as a perfect storm of royal drama that blurred the lines between private life and public spectacle. Beyond the headlines, ordinary people debated the meaning of loyalty, family, and truth. Forums and comment sections overflowed with heated debates, memes, and emotional responses. The DNA claim wasn't just a story. It had become a cultural event, one that touched on identity, family loyalty, and the human fascination with secrets exposed. Even global leaders and cultural commentators chimed in, reflecting on how personal revelations can ripple outward, affecting public perception, institutional reputation, and legacy. The incident reminded the world that royal lives, while shielded by protocol and tradition, are never truly private. And yet, amidst the chaos, a quieter question lingered. How would the family behind the headlines respond? Would the palace remain silent? Or would action be taken to control the narrative before it spiraled further out of control? Inside the grand halls of the Buckingham Palace, silence ruled. Courtiers, advisors, and palace aides worked quietly, knowing that every word, every gesture could become public fodder within minutes. The DNA revelation was not just a family matter anymore. It was a crisis demanding careful strategy, measured responses, and damage control at the highest level. Royal insiders say that immediately after the story broke, teams huddled in private rooms, reviewing statements, assessing potential fallout, and preparing for media inquiries. The delicate balance between protecting personal privacy and maintaining the monarchy's image was more precarious than ever. Every decision had to consider both the emotional well-being of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and the perception of millions watching worldwide. There were no easy choices. Silence could be interpreted as weakness or guilt, but speaking out could fuel the fire of speculation. Advisors debated the best approach: a formal statement, a private letter, or carefully controlled media appearances. Each option carried risk. In this era of instant news cycles, any misstep could spiral into headlines faster than anyone could react. Amid this, Harry reportedly leaned heavily on trusted confidants, balancing his emotional state with the responsibilities of his public role. Those close to Meghan say she was equally distressed but determined to face the situation head-on. The palace, however, remained cautious, understanding that royal protocol often requires patience, subtlety, and timing, even in the midst of sensational headlines. Beyond strategy, there was the human element. Staff members described moments of quiet tension. Footsteps echoing in empty corridors, hushed conversations, and a palpable sense that every decision mattered. A family's private pain had collided with centuries of tradition and expectation, forcing everyone involved to navigate a minefield of emotion, perception, and public scrutiny. Yet even in the shadows of the palace, whispers circulated. Speculation about further revelations, additional family disputes, or new statements from Samantha Markle kept advisors on high alert. The palace understood one undeniable truth. In the age of viral news, no secret remains hidden for long. And as decisions were made behind closed doors, one question persisted in every corner of the monarchy. Could the royal family contain the fallout, or was the story only just beginning? In the aftermath of the DNA revelation, the royal family faced a reckoning that went beyond headlines. It wasn't just about proving facts or silencing critics. It was about navigating truth, loyalty, and the legacy of one of the most scrutinized families in the world. For Prince Harry, it became a balancing act between protecting his loved ones and upholding the dignity expected of a royal. Every decision carried weight, and every move was analyzed by millions. The incident left lasting ripples. For Harry and Meghan Markle, trust within the family had been tested, and new questions arose about who could be relied upon. Public perception became a battlefield, with supporters rallying to their side while critics amplified every detail. It was clear that private family tensions could no longer remain private, and that transparency, discretion, and strategy would be essential in moving forward. Royal analysts suggest that this moment may redefine the relationship between the monarchy and the public. Family disputes that were once carefully contained now play out on a global stage, influencing how audiences perceive